OnlyFans is one of those companies that lives in a very strange place in our culture. Everyone knows what it is, but less people actually understand how the business model itself works. And even fewer people talk about it seriously as a business, which is ironic because from an economic standpoint, it is one of the most successful creator platforms ever built. I'm Sammy Cohen, and this is Social Currency, a podcast that unpacks the stories that are shaping business, culture, and the intersection of the two. When you strip away the headlines and the stigma, OnlyFans solved a problem that the internet struggled with for years: how to get people to pay creators directly at scale without relying on advertising. And that alone makes this business model worth studying. Today, I want to walk you through how OnlyFans and their creators actually make money, how creators drive growth in a way that looks very different from traditional social media, and why the platform's design choices are so deliberate. And at the end, I want to talk honestly about the company's biggest ambition, becoming the Netflix of the creator economy, and whether that's even the right goal for a business like this. To start things off, one of the most revealing things about OnlyFans as a business is how comfortable they are in doing things differently. OnlyFans was created by a man named Tim Stokely in 2016. He sold a majority stake of the company to an investor, Leo Radvinsky, in 2018. This mystery man, Leo, is a very private guy who likes to stay under the radar. And for good reason, because the investment that Leo made into OnlyFans has now turned him into a billionaire many times over. The latest estimate was that his personal net worth was now close to $8 billion. In 2024, the OnlyFans gross revenue rose 9% to $7.2 billion, and their profit is about half of that. These are insane numbers. And from the outside, the platform looks inconvenient. There's no native app, and the interface isn't flashy. You don't get nudged back in with notifications every 5 minutes. In a world where growth is usually synonymous with convenience, that feels counterintuitive. But financially, this decision tells you exactly what kind of company OnlyFans wanted to be. By avoiding the App Store entirely, OnlyFans avoided the economic situation that comes with being on there. Apple and Google take a meaningful percentage, around 30% of every transaction processed through their ecosystems. For most platforms, that's just the cost of distribution. But for OnlyFans, it would have fundamentally changed the payout structure that creators on the platform rely on. OnlyFans as a platform takes a 20% cut of the creator earnings, so their creators keep the remaining 80%. And the decision for OnlyFans to remain off of the App Store meant that the company was also insulated from platform policy shifts. App Store rules around adult content change frequently, often without warning. So by operating independently, this gave OnlyFans control over its own rules, payments, and long-term strategy. So next up, let's talk about how OnlyFans creator-led growth is actually a structural advantage for them. OnlyFans doesn't behave like your typical social network because it doesn't need to. There's no expectation that the platform will surface new creators, engineer virality, or keep users endlessly engaged. That work happens elsewhere. They know that the nature of their adult-only content will keep people coming back regardless. But the marketing funnel and awareness engine is fascinating. Instead of building awareness for themselves through the actual OnlyFans site, creators build audiences on platforms that are designed for discovery: the Instagram, TikTok, X, Reddit, or YouTubes of the world. Those platforms reward visibility, personality, and consistency. And then OnlyFans steps in once the attention already exists on these other platforms. So a creator will promote their OnlyFans across these other platforms first, and then get potential subscribers to move over to OnlyFans once their fans have seen them elsewhere. Now, what's interesting here is that this isn't just a byproduct of design, it's a deliberate cost structure. User acquisition is very expensive. Social platforms spend billions of dollars refining algorithms, promoting content, and acquiring users. OnlyFans avoids these costs almost entirely, which means that they get to keep all of that capital. Instead, it captures value at the point where fans are most motivated to pay. In terms of searchability, the platform has a deliberately hard-to-use search functionality. You can't just type in a general search term on the site. You need to type in exactly the username that you're looking for. And this is likely the function that is most different when comparing OnlyFans to the other social platforms. The CEO of OnlyFans has said that this is for safety reasons. For creators, this model raises the bar. Running an OnlyFans account means understanding audience funnels, pricing psychology, and retention, since you know that it's not going to be super easy for random people to discover your page if you're only posting on OnlyFans without promoting it elsewhere on other social sites. It requires work that looks a lot more like entrepreneurship than just simply posting. But the upside with the OnlyFans model is control. Creators aren't subject to algorithmic changes that wipe out reach overnight. Their income depends on relationships that they actively maintain. And they own that relationship with their audience directly. And I'd say that there is ironically less risk to losing those followers on OnlyFans than the risk of losing followers on other social platforms. So when people talk about OnlyFans, they often focus on the subscription prices. But subscriptions alone don't explain why the platform works economically. The real engine is interaction. Once a fan subscribes, the platform opens up additional layers of monetization. Creators can charge for specific ad hoc pieces of content, respond to messages behind paywalls, accept tips, or host live interactions. These transactions are small individually, but powerful in aggregate. They also reflect a broader shift in how people value content online. Fans aren't just paying for access to media, they're paying for responsiveness and for acknowledgement. They're looking for a sense that their presence matters. In the same way that people often look to online chat rooms or now AI friends or even ChatGPT relationships, this OnlyFans model is selling a sense of connection and companionship. And this creates a very different dynamic from the ad-supported platforms where creators are rewarded for mass appeal without a lot of these one-off interactions. On OnlyFans, creators are rewarded for cultivating a smaller, more committed audience of people who regularly pay them for different types of content. And that's why the platform works for such a wide range of creators, not because it's easy, but because it's flexible. But OnlyFans wasn't 100% bought into this model since the very beginning. We need to talk about the brief 2021 adult content ban announcement. This was one of the most telling moments in the company's history because publicly it looked like a complete company value shift. Internally, it was about operational pressure. And fun fact, I had Rebecca Minkoff, the well-known fashion designer, on the show. And during that episode, she said that her brand, Rebecca Minkoff, joined OnlyFans in 2021 as part of this move away from adult-only content. But then her brand left after they reversed that course. The story here is that banks and payment processors are conservative institutions. We know that. They're sensitive to reputational risk, fraud, and regulatory scrutiny. And adult platforms of all kinds sit very high on the risk spectrum and make it difficult to conduct business for them. So when financial partners become uneasy, businesses that rely on payments feel it immediately. So OnlyFans made this short-lived switch to appease their banking and payments partners, only to realize that this was not the best path forward for them, and it would have basically stalled out their entire revenue. After this whole 2021 snafu moment, the company leaned further into controls rather than to retreat. And they decided that they didn't want to pivot away from their base. Instead, they were committed to managing it better. So now we need to talk about the leadership of OnlyFans. Keely Blair is a lawyer from Ireland who took over as CEO in 2023. Her legal experience shaped how the platform thinks about risk. OnlyFans operates at this intersection of content, payments, and regulation, three areas where mistakes are very costly. And that's why Keely's background is so relevant. It's no mistake that they also chose a female to lead the company. Since the majority of creators on the platform are women, it makes sense to have a female leader, and of course, this is a better look from a PR and public perception standpoint. Now let's talk about OnlyFans' push into mainstream creator categories. OnlyFans doesn't just want to be known as a site for adult-only content. They want to be ultimately much bigger than what they are now, and they want to become a larger creator platform that is known for different types of content, including the safe for work kind. Athletes, musicians, chefs, and fitness creators face the same need to monetize their audience in a way that gives them options and flexibility. Direct subscriptions offer a solution. The key difference is that athletes and musicians have plenty of other creator platforms that they can use to monetize their audience. There's Patreon, passes, fanfics, and even YouTube has membership subscriptions, and there are many more. When OnlyFans released a new part of the platform called OFTV, they wanted to bring in other types of content to make a massive move into these other verticals. This was a way to showcase safer work content and broaden perception. But perception is slow to change. Adult content remains a significant driver of revenue, the vast majority, and the cultural association as well. That reality doesn't just disappear because now new creator categories are being added. The challenge for OnlyFans isn't attracting mainstream creators or creating awareness around what the platform does or doesn't do. If they want to succeed at making OnlyFans a company that is well known for all types of content, they will need to learn how to integrate them without undermining the economic foundation that made the platform viable in the first place. Expansion in this case requires balance rather than reinvention. And my hot take take is I don't think that this massive push to new types of content will work out for them, at least not in the way that they're hoping it will. I think that they will continue to grow their non-adult content, but it won't be the moneymaker in the same way that the adult content is, because the platforms for non-adult content are just too strong at this stage. And many creators would feel uncomfortable putting non-adult content alongside adult content, even if the site is siphoned off in a way with a walled garden experience where the access was in a different part of the site. It's still a psychological barrier that would be hard to overcome. One last crazy statistic that I want to leave you with is this. In the United States in 2025, Americans spent more money on OnlyFans than they did on the New York Times and ChatGPT subscriptions combined. I got that figure from the New Consumer 2026 report, and when I heard this, it blew my mind. On that note, this is a wrap for today's OnlyFans debrief, and I want to hear your thoughts in the comments about what the future has in store for OnlyFans. Do you think that they're going to be able to pivot and become this larger platform, or will they continue to stay in their lane? So thanks for listening, and I will see you next time. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode of Social Currency. I've been wanting to launch this show for so long. I can't tell you how excited I am to do this and how thrilled I am that you're actually here listening. It means the world to me. If you liked what you heard today, please rate and review the podcast because it massively helps to support the work I do to bring the show to life. And if you want to keep up with the hottest business lore in real time, follow me on Instagram at Sammy Cohen Talks and subscribe to my newsletter, Social Currency, which is linked in the show notes. Social Currency is a production of Social Currency Media and Money News Network. The podcast is hosted and executive produced by me, Sammy Cohen. Social Currency is produced by the Money News Network team. See you next time.